Welcome to another episode of Women Investing in Women. My co-host Robin and I are deeply moved and excited to bring different women and the impact they're making so that we see and celebrate each other. We see and honor the work each other are doing, and we support and build a community of women investing in women. And you are going to absolutely love our guest today, joining us all the way from Australia. Robin, take it away.
I'm so excited to have Krista Berry with us, and I learned about Krista through LinkedIn. And one of my applied positive psychology colleagues, Caroline Miller, had posted about Krista and the beautiful work that she was doing in helping women learn how to heal through being in the ocean and surfing and swimming. And I thought this is amazing, and we definitely want to have you on our program because this is a very unusual thing that you're doing. And so Krista, and as Kas said, Krista's all the way in Australia, on the Gold Coast of Australia. And so why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit and tell us, how did you get into the notion of helping women heal through being in the ocean?
Thank you, Robin and Dr. Kas. I'm so grateful to be invited onto your show. It sounds amazing what you're doing yourself, so thank you very much. But how did I get into it? Well, I had heard Caroline speak online, and I just loved everything that she was speaking about. So I took myself down to Melbourne to the World Congress on Positive Psychology, and did a half-day workshop and fell in love with positive psychology and went on to do my master's degree with Central Queensland University. My background is owning a surfing school for nearly 25 years here on the Gold Coast, and a lot of what, and also in swimming, and a lot of what I had studied through positive psychology was coming through with the surfing, but also as an elite former swimmer, there were so many parallels with the learnings of positive psychology that I could actually see that movement affecting people who were learning to surf, but also anyone who was doing any water-based therapy. So I wanted, in my master's degree, I decided to do a research on the wellbeing benefits of middle-aged women learning to surf. And at that particular time, there was an emergence coming through of a lot more women entering into surfing, but particularly middle-aged women. And I was very intrigued into finding out the reasons why, and also whether or not it's actually a benefit for them and what they were gaining from it. So that was my entry into it.
It's fascinating how you have taken your elite swimming career and then pivoted to not only teaching others how to surf and be in the water, but actually paired that with healing. And middle-aged women are going through so much change, right? Hormonal changes, life changes, social changes. And as they are rediscovering themselves, you are putting that framework around for their healing as well. Talk a little bit about some of the challenges these women are facing and how being in the water and the therapeutic nature of water is helping them heal.
That's probably one of the areas that I sometimes I get teary-eyed having a surf school for so long and seeing the evolution of this change of women entering into that sport, whether it's competitive or whether it was just for recreation. And what I was noticing was before I even researched it, I was just like, this is really quite amazing. These women were coming, they were so courageous. They had so much wisdom that they brought into the surfing lessons that I hadn't seen in any other demographic before. And I believe when I did my research, the findings that I found was that the women had gone through so many adversities in their life, whether it was through divorces, losing loved ones, their family members and things, and children, raising children, doing it on their own, whether they're single parents, just doing the whole juggle, and also midlife and all those changes. But they brought their own wisdom to it. And that was where I saw the difference in what they gained from it and the transformation from when they learnt those programs. Because they not only learnt from doing the lessons that built self-confidence, each time they came, they would be excited because the conditions, you're working with Mother Nature. And I found that women managed working with Mother Nature a lot more than a lot of other demographics, mainly because they've gone through so many different things, and the women were taking what they were learning. They had more confidence. But when they were learning what they did in the surf, they were actually explaining to me about how they were taking that into everyday life, whether it's at home, in the workplace. They didn't realize they can do a hard thing, but also that they were doing something in an environment that was predominantly male dominated. And that was another area that they had to overcome as well. So the women were incredible, and in it you could see the change in them. So I wanted to find out. There wasn't a lot of research on women in that area in the surfing industry. It was predominantly on males, teenagers, veterans, and it was surf therapy research, but there wasn't a lot of research on that particular demographic and on basic learn to surf lessons. So yeah, it was incredible.
What did you find from your research? What were some of the findings? Was there a particular area that you focused on, and what were some of the findings?
Uh, Mine was more of a broad explorations because it hadn't really been researched a lot. So it was a qualitative study. They had to do a surfing lesson, at least a minimum of one or two at a registered Australian surf school. And the reason for that being is that each surf school has structured ways of running for safety. And I knew that if they went to any of those surf schools, that they would all have had very similar protocols and procedures. And what came back in the research was they were a lot braver than they thought they were. It gave them their identity back a bit. It was more like that feeling they're in a playful environment. They remembered what it was like to be who they were before they became the role of mother, someone at work, just all these things that we are always boxed into. And you could see that coming through, that that really gave them an opportunity to find themselves again. And that came through. That was the strongest part of the research and the findings, but the women realized that they could do hard things. So I love that they were brave. If they could do that, then they could get through other adversities that they were going through at the time. So it really helped manage that area. And it also helped them with their nervous systems as well. So they found that it was very peaceful out there in the ocean, as we all know, and that environment, but doing it with other women as well, because when they're in the ocean, so women really come together and have each other's back. And that's what I found is that the women, had they been maybe going for a walk or a hike, they always connect and you always have that bond. But in the ocean, it's even more so because you really got to be careful. You're in an unpredictable environment. And I watched the women really encouraging themselves and the feedback, because a lot of these women, it was Australia-wide research. And the feedback that came through in the research was that they all had each other's back and they formed these amazing bonds and they could and they helped each other through other things in life. So it was, yeah, a great transformation, but a fantastic bonding as well.
I can imagine, because for a woman, the quality of life is directly correlated to the strength and support of her sisterhood. For a man, on the other hand, it is his life partner, right? So, with all of this experience of bringing about transformation and seeing these women come into their own, we can't change lives for positive or negative without changing ourselves, right? How we impact others transforms us. So I want to pivot a little and have you talk about how has this transformed you? And what about this journey that is different from training the others that has truly brought on a different aspect of you and what that aspect is?
Oh, what a thank you for asking that. But it has, well, one, I actually learned a lot about myself because I have my own fears, and I thought I was pretty confident being, doing the sport that I did in swimming, and I actually can't. I mean, I can surf, but I'm not a surfer, so to speak. I swim more in the ocean. How it changed me is that seeing these women do what they did made me realize that if you can create an environment for women to feel safe, and it's a little bit out of the norm of just going to a coffee shop, or we're doing something that put them in an environment where they're having fun, remembering what it was like. But it changed me in realizing I could do the same thing. So after I had finished my research, I wrote a manuscript, and it got published. But then I got invited to present that at the World Congress on positive psychology in Canada. And as I had mentioned, I had a fear of speaking in front of people. So I thought, if these women can do what they're doing, I can get myself up on that stage and I can talk. So I kept thinking of thinking of it is, watching that transformation in the women. I can do that. So I took on some of the things that they were doing. I was teaching them how to breathe, how to, when you're on a wave and you're not sure, just really, if allow yourself to flow with it, connect with the water, really feel the energy around you, but don't take it on too much where your anxiety comes up too much. So I sort of taking on exactly that and doing that for myself. So and it inspired me to continue it. So I developed my other business called Flow Light Water Academy, where I can continue the research in water immersion, whether it's surfing, bodyboarding, and create a safe area for women to come to and continue these programs. So that was the change for me.
That's really beautiful. I'm really excited. It was exciting to me to hear how you helped the women, and then they in turn helped you. You inspired them, they inspired you. I love that cycle that you've described. And I'm wondering, when you began this, did you start out with thinking, I'm going to use surfing to help women heal? Or were you just in the course of teaching swimming, teaching surfing, and then recognized, oh, this is really helping people heal? It's more than just, hey, I'm going to have fun in the water. It goes well beyond that. Like, at what point did that occur to you, or was it there from the beginning?
Um, that occurred to me when I actually saw the women coming and doing it. I could see the changes in them, and that was the amazing thing. Was you had someone who was very shy come. I think that oldest lady had come. She was in her early 70s, and she was learning then, and her bravery just I was in awe. And was how she changed. Wasn't just about the learning part. Isn't really what, if they're getting up on the board, they will ride it, but it's the whole aspect of being in that ocean, learning that every single day Mother Nature gives you a different wave. You're not going to get the same conditions on any particular day. Like, each day is different, and it can change even when you're in the middle of a lesson. So you have to be able to pivot and be able to manage that. And when I saw the women coming and the transformation in them, there was that part where I realized this is more than just learning to surf. This is something here is where it's a whole package. They're learning to do hard things. They're learning to let go of other things in life. It's respite from the everyday life. I was seeing that in them. And that's where I realized that the women, what they were learning and what they gained from it had so much more than just to learn to surf, even just the water immersion in itself. So I've always loved water. I could swim before I could walk, apparently, my mum said. So I don't remember learning to swim, but apparently I could swim across the pool and she had to lift my head to breathe because I didn't have any neck muscles. But I just know that when I'm in the water, and a lot of my swimming friends, teammates, it's the same. It's a place where you can let go, you can hear your breath. It's sort of movement meditation. And I feel that's what a lot of the women did. So that's where I realized this is very therapeutic. And if we can capture that and put a program together where they feel comfortable and safe, and that was the main thing, is creating safe spaces for women to come. And a safe space is the right conditions, the right coach. Coaches have got to know what the women need. They're different. And also, just everything that comes with being in that environment, and just being around supportive women supporting each other.
It is amazing how we all come from the amniotic fluid, right? We were all in water for 9.5 months, but when we come out, we forget it. And with Mother Nature and our ability to get back into water takes us to that safe place, takes us to that calming place. So it's truly fascinating how life comes around full circle and Mother Nature is there all the way with us. And I absolutely love the work you're doing as an island girl growing up in Sri Lanka and being surrounded by water. Water is the most therapeutic thing. So, what words of wisdom do you have for women in general? We are living in an age where the pressures on women, the challenges they're facing are truly magnified today. There is such a movement around the world to tear down all the empowerment that has taken place. What advice do you have for women to get centered and be supportive of one another and navigate these challenges so that we come out of the other end healed in our place of grace?
How beautiful. I think women supporting one another, no matter what we're doing. I love encouraging other women, but I also know a lot of women have encouraged me. And it's that reciprocal having each other's back and really letting go of the competition and just allowing ourselves to witness another woman doing hard things or wonderful things and really shouting that out and letting them know, that was amazing. But creating, even just if in your own community, create, if you can find, I mean, most places do have pools, but I do find that water and natural environments have this amazing ability to bring us back and center us to our natural state of being, and doing that with each other. And don't be afraid of doing hard things. You can forget that. But I think women do hard things all the time, but we just don't realize we're doing it because we're so conditioned to take on so many things. And we don't pat ourselves on the back to realize, you're juggling all these different things. That takes a lot in itself, to work, raise families, manage, you have to be a psychologist to manage those families anyway, but not forgetting who you truly are, and play with life. And I find water brings out this playfulness in everyone. And so if you can come together, but mainly supporting each other and really cheering each other on.
Yeah. What a beautiful message you have. I'm really loving it. And just as we wrap up here, can you say just a little bit more about this other business you have started at the Flow Academy? And then please let people know how we can get a hold of you.
Thank you. Flow Like Water Academy, I started that where I could do more research in positive psychology, but focusing more on water therapy. I have programs where I run a lot, 8-week programs. I do half-day workshops. A lot of them have water-based interventions, and we work in programs, whether it's in the ocean, in the pool, nature walks, but it's more like a social get together. And then women can feel safe to bring topics up, and we work through things. And then it's also opened for children and for males as well, but predominantly women. And I have a website which is flowlikewateracademy.com.au, and so you can reach me through there. And so I'm looking forward to doing more research in that area, but more is having more women attend and really try out. If you have got a beach or a pool somewhere, join a master's swimming or just learn to swim. It's amazing just getting in the water and allowing yourself to know that when we float and we can let go and you can connect with that water, it's like coming back to home. So I feel like that's my piece.
That's so brilliantly put together. Thank you so much, Krista. We appreciate you coming and having this conversation with us. And as you do more research and you figure out ways to help women, please feel free to come back. We would love to have you come back and share with our audience what you have learned, how that learning can help others, because we're all about continuing to support one another, support each woman's message and passion and purpose, and in that process, lifting women up across the world. So thank you for all your insight. Thank you for the work you're doing. And we cannot wait to hear from you and bring you back. And to our audience out there, you heard Krista say, flow like water. We all came from water. One way or the other, we are going back to water. And why not embrace it in the middle? Embrace it. And I am a believer that water is so powerful as it gently flows. It can turn a mountain into a hill, into a rock, into ultimately sand. And water is really that powerful. And when we flow gently like water, we can peacefully, with grace, accomplish everything we want to. So go out there and swim, play in the water. Don't forget the little girl in you, and flow.